when you heard about this particular topic, what came to your mind?
Yeah, the topic is quite interesting though, because one or many of us must have had the experience of hearing people say senior designer, senior designer, senior designer. It seems like everybody in the world as a designer wants to be a senior designer. So it's crazy when you realize that somebody that just started designing in 2018 is a senior designer. Ooh, somebody that just started designing in 2019 is a senior designer. Ooh, in 2020 is already a senior designer. What? And then it came as a shock to me, and I decided to think of it from another perspective. And this is something that I thought that I would share with everybody, and I would like to hear what they think from their own perspective. In my mind, is senior designer number of years or the total experience? So that question, I would reserve my answer till the end, but this is something that I thought that I was going to throw out there for us to think about while we are sharing our different experiences, saying that, hey, is now wash or our person go be senior designer 2 years, not be wash because the kind of experience with this guy or this girl don't get, I'm reach to be senior designer. Everybody will have their different experiences and have something to say about it. But for me personally, what came to my mind is within 2 years, there's a chance for somebody to become a senior designer, but it is very rare. Meaning that 90% of the people who say they are senior designers within 2 years, now wash. I'm on that stage. They now wash. Very little amount of people now legit. You understand? Because there are exceptions. We know those exceptions. But generally, now wash. Again, that's just my opinion. Please, any other person. And while you're thinking of your opinion or your experience, think about the experience somebody have had within 1 year or within 2 years that might make that person a senior designer, or the number of years that the person has worked, maybe 4, 5, 6, and then that makes the person a senior designer. But in my opinion, now what?
That was great. Like I mentioned before we started this particular conversation, that today we are about to break some table, and at the same time we are going to be reconstructing that as well. So let's get from product design guy.
Just as Sam said, when I heard the topic, it was actually something quite interesting because where I worked a few months ago, I and my fellow designer on the team, we're actually talking about this thing a lot, and how you come on Twitter and you see a lot of people shouting that I'm a senior designer. I just got promoted to a senior designer. So I used to wonder, like, who is promoting you, or on what basis are you being promoted? Are you promoting yourself, or did you like get an award from, let me say, a company that made you to move to that level? And just like Sam actually mentioned, you have to know if it's actually the experience you have gotten in that short period of time, or if it's that you have worked for so long and yes, it's ideal to move. Why I feel like working in for a short period of time, like 2 years or a year, and you say you are already you are a senior product designer. So in that 2 years, how are you able to settle down to actually track your progress in that 2 years working for those two companies? Because working for two companies can be quite hectic. You don't have time to actually settle down to get your own stance, like to get a lot of things going for yourself, to know how well you are progressing in your design career. So I wonder how people actually try to make that assumption that after working for 2 years, you are actually graduated to a senior product designer. And to be honest, to be a senior product designer, there are a lot of things that come into play. How many products have you put out there that are actually out there in the market and are doing well? Like after a period, when do you have time? Because for the success of any product, you need to have like 4 or 5 years in the market, and this product is still working and moving on well. So those are things that you actually need to check before you say you are a senior product designer. And for me, 2 years is just not enough for someone to say you're a senior product designer.
So product design guy, let's look at it now from that your perspective. You see, this table we break and shatter and reconstruct, like our auntie have said. If you are working for two companies and you are meeting up your deadlines, you are doing everything you are supposed to do, it's hectic, everybody knows, but you are delivering. Won't somebody now say, for me to be able to do this thing, I'm a senior guy. Guy, the thing no easy, no be being so junior guy no go fit do this kind of thing. You get what I mean? So from that perspective, can't you call that person senior designer? Because the guy they try, it's not easy to work for two companies and actually deliver good. You understand? This is
Sam, you actually have a point, yeah. Yeah, you actually have a point, yeah. Honestly, because working for two companies, being able to deliver, meet your deadlines is actually something good. But to be frank, anybody can do that. A beginner can do that. A mid-level guy can do that. It's not something so out of the world that you say, okay. One thing I noticed is that a lot of people mistake lead designer for senior designer. The fact that you're a lead designer on a team doesn't make you a senior on that team or make you a senior designer at all.
I think that's what you might just be the point person. Yeah, you might just be the point person.
Exactly.
Yeah. You just assume
exactly. You might just be the one. Exactly. So that's what people mistake. They mistake the lead designer for senior.
Yeah. Clearly, like everyone has said, 2 years is a very short period. And the reason why people use years of experience is not just a joke. People have an idea of what you can achieve in 1 year and 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So for you to call yourself senior or be a senior designer, you have to have put in this work. You have to have put in these years of experience. Come from a product, do the research, do the ideation, do the test on the product, launch it, post-launch, do a lot of analysis. So if you say you're a senior in 2 years, does that mean that you've only launched 2 products? Because you need to spend time on these products. There's nothing you can do about it. Whether you're someone that works 18 hours or 20 hours a day, that timeline it has to happen. So the only way that you can say 2 years is even kind of likely is if you're not sleeping, you are a genius. Every single second of every day, you are doing product design or UX design. So it's highly unlikely. If I would say 99.9% unlikely that anyone is senior after 2 years. And let's not forget, when you say senior design, it's more of a managerial role than actually design role. You have to know how to manage junior designers. You have to have that knowledge to know anytime junior designers are stuck or there's a problem, you have to now reach into your backlog of experience and come out with the solution. So that there's a finite amount of problems you can experience in 2 years. So you wouldn't even know when your junior designers or your team or someone that is not even a designer has a design problem, where will you get this answer from? So that's why I'll say 2 years is serious wash.
Okay.